We're joined for my first ever kind of podcast in years. Well, I did things like this before, and we're joined by, I have a little thing written down, so I want to say it because I went to the effort of writing it. Joining me now, I'm going to do it in a big cheesy podcasty way. Joining me now for a chat is actor, comedian, musician, and I added porn star in there just for comedic value. Known on Hardy Books as Eddie Durkan, and many more. It's Martin Maloney. How are you, man? Is that a good intro? Did I do
You
well?
know, I couldn't have asked for a better intro. You had all the bases covered there as well.
Now, I know there's probably a few avenues there.
Porn star, but I've not actually filmed, but I have done a fair bit of poundage in my time. So credit where it's due, mate. Credit where it's due.
I'll cross that off. So hold on.
How are we getting on, baby boy?
I'm good. It's great to have a chat with you. As I said, we were playing a bit of PlayStation the other day. I've been a fan of yourself for years. Not only on Hardy Books, but the sketches that you've done on Republic of Telly and other stuff that you've done. So it's actually
few and far between, Jamie. They could have done with a couple more sketches.
I'm telling you, yeah. But it's surreal now that I'm sitting here and talking to you through the technology of webcamery. And it's
webcamery.
I don't know. I'm talking shite, but it's great. It's great to have you. It's great. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I'm still a bit dishevelled today, though, because it was a bit of a late one last night. Because, if a man cannot exercise his freedom to have a few looseners in an Irish-themed bar, then...
That's what I find crazy. As you were saying, sorry I interrupted you there.
You're all right.
But, yeah, tell us about that, because in Ireland right now, everything is locked down completely, and you're living in Sweden. Sorry if I'm at the giving away your location to the people that are after you, but you're in Sweden and everything's open.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Like, I mean, there's a kind of they call it a restrictive lockdown, which is kind of everywhere's still open, but they're not staffed at the same capacity. But I was out with my daughter yesterday doing a bit of shopping and whatnot, and helping her getting a phone sorted out. Her ma gave her old phone. It was up to me, of course, to do all of the tedious setting up. So yeah, that's done. She's made up. But when I was walking around in the shopping centre, man, the place was packed. You go, and then they've got this government run-off license over here called System Bolaget, which basically translates to System Company. It's like, oh, come here, let's go and get some drinks down in System Company. Yeah, the Swedes are a special bunch.
Are you not worried about coronavirus, or like is Sweden not worried?
I was, yeah, and there's kind of like there's that kind of thing in the back of your mind, which is like, shit, maybe I'll come down with something. Oh, I got a pain in my shoulder blades. Oh yeah, but do you know what, mate? I don't know anyone who has it. I mean, I know people who've been sick lately. My mate Andy in Dublin, he got it. He claims he got it. He said he can't smell or taste afterwards, which is supposed to be one of the symptoms. But thank God I don't know anyone. I've heard of people who've died, but there's something a bit dodgy about it because people are saying they died. There's a lot of stats coming out from across the board saying that the people have, they've died with it, but there's a lot of people who are dying because they can't get out of the house. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what the story is, but like people are kind of, unless Sweden is just like some sort of canary in the coal mine here, we'll let Sweden. You think the first place to lock down would have been Sweden?
Yeah, why do you think Sweden is so relaxed about it? I don't understand.
Well, Jamie, mate, they fucking lock themselves away anyway. You know what I mean? So you want to meet a mate for a lunch? It's like, I'm busy. It's like, what about tomorrow? Oh, even busier then. What about October the 7th? Oh, definitely.
Oh, great.
Got this, like, a lot of them have this kind of like, I think it's the way Stockholm is built, because it's built across like an archipelago of different islands that straddle across an archipelago system and a lake called Lake Maloney. I don't know what all this means, but it's just to make me look like I was dividing the lake where it meets the archipelago.
There's sexy hand gestures.
Oh.
Sexy. Sorry, I'm taking this to another place here, am I?
Another dimension.
Right, so I'm going to be titling this Life After Hardy Books, and that's going to be the title of this video. So let's talk. I know we're going to have to talk a little bit about Hardy Books, and I'm sure you're okay with that. So when and how did Hardy Books start? Because there's a lot of controversy around this. People are saying it started this way, it started that way. So what's your take on it? When and how?
From the horse's mouth, Jamie. It started in 2007. I'd been living in Stockholm before, and then I lived in Liverpool again for about 6 months, working on a shed with my dad from my uncle on my mum's side. The shed was so fantastical. At the end of it, they had to do the house up to match the shed. That fucking shed nearly ruined me. And after that, then I was kind of like, I want to go back to Ireland. That was because everyone was having great crack back in Ireland. So all the boys were there, like, you know, and the old lady and whatnot. And yeah, I went back to Ireland. I was in a real sweet spot at the time. I was just living at home, playing loads of guitar, and then going to Galway at the weekends and living a real comfortable existence. I just started driving. I was like, this is class. I could literally go anywhere now. And petrol was relatively cheap back in the days. And then I ended up moving to Galway, and I came back home. No, it was later on I went to Galway. Before I moved to Galway, Chris taught off us in Ballyfermot College, and I was previously in Ballyfermot, and me and him had,
so was Ballyfermot? I was talking to Carl beforehand about that, and he was saying he's in Ballyfermot College.
Yeah, he's been doing his homework, man.
Yeah.
I remember we used to go for pints in Chaser's Bar, and apparently someone got kneecapped over the Christmas holidays. We're like, that's the pub we drink in. Class. But,
so you were in college with the Viper, as he's known, Chris.
Yeah, and he goes, Martin, do you want to do a couple of characters, like just that, you know, and I'll film them and edit them together. And I was like, yeah. So like it was called The Tale of a Hardy Book. No one knows whatever happened to that, but it was you're on the old Smart of Ice.
Bitch fizz, as I call it, the bitch fizz.
Bacardi geezer. I got the old these little bad boys piston
what's
heads.
That? Oh, let's see the skull on that. Let's see the that looks
Amber
funky.
Haze, man. It's so trendy. Look how trendy it is. But these are €1 each, right? And they're grand.
Nice.
They're actually like
little bullets of alcohol.
Yeah, but they're cheap and they're cheerful and they're all organic and they're all like made by. Apparently, so the legend goes, there was a microbrewery that approached Spendrups, and Spendrups is like one of the biggest breweries in Sweden, and their beer was like over here in Sweden it's called Storstag. I will have a Storstag, which means a big and strong.
Oh yes,
and it tasted like piss. So these dudes just went like, yeah, we'll go but we've got a business proposition for you. What if we take our expertise in microbrewing and take it to this huge brewer? Would you be able to give us the touch, the Ashton Touchner?
Oh yes. Nice. You slid that in pretty fast.
Dude, we actually spoke about this before. I was like, this is a new word that I want people to start using, but I want it. This will document the fact it was me who made it up, but just
we'll put it in the title, the hashtag Ashton Touchner.
Ashton Touchner, I like that one.
Anyway, back to the story of Hardy Books and how it started. So you were in Ballyfermot with Chris and.
Well, no, we were just mates from home. Like I was in Ballyfermot for a year. I did like this bullshit mixed media course. At the end of it, I didn't graduate. I was like, this is fucking bollocks, man. But it was good crack, to say the least. And Chris went there and did the THMD, the 3-year course. I think he did like 2 years of it, and as part of his time in there, he did this little video with me as a little project, and it was just me kind of going around like ringing people, going, "I want that fucking money next week, man. Give me that money next week. Hey, one fucking dead fucking walker, man. I'll give me that money, hey, and I'll kill you." And then it's like, who was that? Just a mate of mine, you know. Like, so he showed out to some mates in college, and they really liked it. And then I was living with Owen in Galway at the time, and it was just top session, 2007. Good times, man. And like we would just be buzzing and having a good laugh. And I was saying, Owen, you'd be perfect for this, because we always for years, I mean, Owen always talked about doing some kind of comedy show where we had very, very limited knowledge and resources in the broadcasting game. And I remember like the first day, then we did like I did a day shooting in April of 2007, probably like 13 years ago this weekend maybe.
Wow.
And we got Salmon involved. We were like, oh man, it'd be great to get a lad like Salmon. We're like, why don't we just ask Salmon? Salmon played Salmon. And there was a review about Salmon in the papers when the Hardy Books movie came out. It was like, Michael Salmon can't act to save his life, even when it comes to saving his own life.
Yes.
That's what I loved about it, man. He was like Keith from The Office. He's like, okay, just that real deadpan, natural style of delivery. We knew we were onto a winner.
A lot of people's favorite character from like my mates and stuff would be Salmon, as well. So it's like it's just because he's so fucking legit, you know. It's just Salmon, like it's brilliant.
He's the real deal, man. He's the real deal.
So how many seasons then? I know you've made your own show. Just to cut a bit forward, then you were on YouTube when it was highly successful on YouTube. Then you did the Storyland thing, and then you were picked up by RTE. So how many seasons then on RTE did Hardy Books run for?
4 series in total. I mean, really, like it kind of, you know, there's no point in looking back and be like, oh, should have been like this, because I always look at life. If you look back and you could change something, it's like, yeah, you fucked up on, let's say you're playing Fallout 4 and you're like, oh, I've kind of made progress on this road. Mm-hmm. Then it's like, well, if I go back, so that's the way life is. Yeah, I think we're all supposed to be where we are, you know, for better or worse. And you know, I think RTE kind of should have maybe had a bit, should have nurtured us a bit more, you know. We presented them with, and they did, to be fair, like they did, but it's kind of, it was a very much, me and Chris were always very, very anti-establishment and always will be. And so, you know, we would be told, oh, you can't do that, you can't do this, and we'd always think of ways of getting around it. So that was half the fun of making the show, was to be, we'd be given an order, or like they would order us to do something. We'd be like, how can we get around this in a very sneaky way? So that was half of the crack as well. But I just kind of I look at it as being, it's a very funny show with, you know, like you forget it. Like I've watched it for probably about 2 years or something, and then I've been watching series 3 while on the session now and again, and it's just like I get it, man. I get why there's so much love for it, because it's just, it is very, the absolute amount of characters that are in it. It's just, where else would you find such an array of witty natural bastards, and most of them never had any experience or desire.
And I think you talk about the anti-establishment factor, and I think that's probably, in my opinion, one of the reasons why it was so successful on RTE, because there was nothing ever like it on RTE. You know what I mean? It was just so authentic.
I don't think there ever will be.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you.
And moving on, like talking about, you're saying like you don't like to look back and talk about changing things, but what weren't you happy about? There sounds like there's a couple of things that you may have...
Well, it was because I suppose the producers in RTE comedy, they're always so transient. So like we started off with RTE drama, and in fairness to Jane and Ailish, the producers, like they were solid, like, and I think we were affected negatively by the financial crash, which is kind of like how we came to prominence. But at the same time, like RTE, just I don't think it fully ever recovered after that, because, you know, and then on top of that, you've got like the emergence of all these different platforms. You have like, would have had Sky, you know, you've got YouTube, you know, you've all these different, like even Instagram, like people are, you know, mobile phone and apps, and so they're competing against that. But I still think, in my opinion, like legacy media, as in like television broadcasting, is still like the benchmark, because if they do manage to have a budget behind a show, you know, you're gonna get all the it's about the capital you put into it, really. What I figured out is that in the beginning, when it was fresh and new, everyone was all in it together, and everyone was trying to, I suppose, get the foot on the ladder somehow. And then after a while, like people who would have started off and be like, oh man, I'd love to come down and help out, they're now working as like cameramen on other productions, and you know, and it kind of, you realize that people don't do it for free anymore. Or no, not for free, or even just for the love of it. I think, and even myself to a certain degree, it's like we've been at it for so long that you kind of do develop a bit of cynicism. But I think my interest is, my own, personally speaking, the interest is coming back. But it like as a making a living, it's very staggered. Like you'll have like,
yeah,
we're gonna make.
What was it like money? What was it like money wise when Hardy Books was? Really?
Well, I mean, like comparatively speaking, I mean, it's to other people. Like let's say your man Blind Boy, for example, he's making top coin, or your man who's leather jacket guy. those guys are making a fortune. But like, you know, what I was used to previously, it was, you know, it was great. But yeah, it's just the problem. It's the inconsistency of it. Like, technically, like, if RTA, I think, should have maybe been like, right, let's give these guys an annual series. You know, but I think there's so many people. It's a very transient places where people change in departments all the time, and you might have someone who loves the show, and then they leave, and then you got someone else who's like, no, I don't understand those. What is this about?
What's the Hardy
You know,
Boys? What's the Hardy Boys?
You know, in intermission, when your man's pitching the idea about Jerry Lynch to his boss, he's like, it's too hard, it's too nasty, softer, softer. There's that kind of, those dudes are coming in and shit. But yeah, I mean, you know, it has been an interesting and fun ride, but like everything else, it has its ups and downs, its peaks and troughs, and also I suppose it didn't really help that I ended up in a fucking court case fighting bouncers because we were supposed to do a sequel in Australia, and some of the investors got a bit spooked. They were like, "What if it gets done for assault?" The whole thing was fucking bouncers, man. You know, like,
was this the first movie?
This is after the first movie, yeah, and that kind of had a, you know, it was like one day you're just kind of like, you know, life is pretty normal, but I knew there was like a court case coming, and next thing your fucking face is like splashed all over the papers, and you're like, just for a bit of a scrap of the bar, man. But it's just the optics of it, you know. It's like, oh, and of course it'd have to be me. It's always me who. It's funny that, isn't it, James?
So that was a bit of a factor in it. That little dispute that you had in the making of a second movie. Do you think?
Yeah, I do think so. Yeah, and then like I think we did like 3 or 4 different drafts of films that were supposed to come to fruition after that. Then and just things never really synced up. But in comparison to like when we first started, man, it was like a small scale meteoric rise. You know, it was. I was like, wow, this is fucking easy, man. But like, there was a lot of, I mean, Facebook had just kind of started then, and YouTube had just started kicking off. And I think for a while, like I think we should never have neglected the YouTube. And this is the thing. This is the negative flip side of when you start getting like corporate money to do things. No one wanted to do, like, I mean, I've been saying it for years, man. I was like, we should really do a run of episodes on YouTube and get the YouTube channel going again.
Just to keep that building while the TV series was going.
Yeah, and there was also into politics among like the members of the, you know, party books as well, which is kind of, you know, there's different people going in different directions, and you know, there was a fair bit of infighting going on, and not all the time, but it kind of, it got to a stage for a while there. We were all like gigging together, practically living together, working together, and then all conversations kind of turned towards like the show. And I think after I moved to Sweden, then it was like probably about 6 years ago. Yeah, it was April 2014. Then anytime we went back, then it was like, oh, this is brilliant, man. This is like one of the greatest gifts ever, to just be paid to make great comedy and have a laugh and hang out with your mates. So,
but there are all big personalities as well, though. Do you know what I mean? So there's always going to be conflict there when there's such talented people all working on the same thing with such big out there personalities. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that was a factor in it as well. But
yeah, things run their course as well, I think. You know, for me personally speaking, it also was kind of holding me back from just being myself. You know, I was using the character of Eddie Durkan in like just kind of, you get used to of having the safety of the character. And whereas I knew that I'm more crack our character. I'd like to think I am. My podcast numbers reflect that. Yeah, but again, like for me, I got so many ideas, and I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do that, but time and resources are, you know.
So when the movie came out, what was that like? To just the Hardy Bucks movie, when when it came out, that must have been a great feeling though, because I know you had the success with the series and stuff, but there's always something special about a movie, and to be up there, top of the bill in Ireland, in the cinemas nationwide. I don't know if it was in UK as well. That must have felt fucking great, though, did it?
It was very exciting, man. I remember like Universal just driving us around doing the press junket. We'd be going to these radio stations, and I'll tell you something funny actually. You know the original Rude Boys, the guys who did that.
Yeah.
I'm a traveling man.
Man, I went my
Mike just kept sticking that. He kept putting that song in all the time in that video or in the film. And so we'd be watching it. You'd be in the cinema and you'd be watching the film, and I was like, I'm a traveling man. And to the point where, like, and I've got this kind of like mild, and Owen has it as well, so this mild kind of Tourette's, where I'll get like a word in my head, and then that word, like, yeah, today it's like Ashton Kutcher. I'll be using that for like 2 weeks, and I'll be like something else. You know, it's like I get fixated on these temporary words, and I'll exhaust it and I move on. And that was the kind of thing with the I'm a traveling man. And then we're in I think like Limerick in this radio station, and I just fucking belted out, I'm a traveling man. And then Tom goes, Martin, there's the boys there, man, the boys. I'm like, which boys? The fucking boys who do I'm a traveling man.
Oh shit, yeah.
Oh wait, I said, what are the odds?
No way. So you bumped into them. What then was
Do you
it?
like the song, man? Yeah, I was like, fucking love the song, man. I'm a traveling man. Of course I'm singing it. And fair play to them.
Class.
Yeah, so yeah, man, it was great crack. We were talking. There was one of the girls from Universal. Was like, "Who are the biggest?" Like, 'cause, you know, she would be taking Hollywood celebs around Ireland. And she says, I said, "Who's the biggest asshole you've met in Hollywood?" She was like, "Oh, Mark Wahlberg, fucking
Oh shit!
prick."
Really?
I was like,
how well did the movie do in the end? Because I heard it done really well.
yeah, it did really well.
Am I right?
We made fuck all money out of it, you know, because you're talking like Universal got the rights, the distributors' rights for UK and Ireland. So yeah.
So there wasn't some golden paycheck from being.
No, and everyone thought, you know, we got loaded off it, but it's just you know, it just wasn't. Yeah, and like people would be like, I thought. That was my daughter.
You're all right. You're okay. You're okay.
But like she's trying to do the dab. Are you going to bed? Yeah. Yeah. I'll be. Yeah. Soon. Right. Pause. I'm blessed. See, you know he can't cut this now, so this is going to be in the interview.
It's okay. Don't worry, man.
Yeah.
Don't worry, though.
Yeah. About 20 minutes, Billy. 20 minutes, love.
Family life. Live television, everybody. It's live television. That's what they always say when something awkward has happened. They're like, live television. It's live television.
Live television, yeah.
Live television. Do you ever see the video of the big the politician chap, and he's like talking about something really serious, and the kids burst into the room, and the maid comes in and like has to drag them by their legs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's brilliant. It's just, you know, there's nothing you can do, man. You can say explicitly. Can you just?
Yeah. No, I've two little lads myself, so I'm well aware of it. I'm sure everyone watching.
I should have made a big deal out of it, you know. So.
Don't be worried. So yeah, you didn't get no golden paycheck. There was no fucking.
No, we got paid, but there was certainly no gold. And this is one of those things. People are like, oh, what are you doing talking about money and all that? I'm like, who cares, man? The money's gone, spent. You know, it's like you know, I was taken to task a few times by people going, "What are you talking about? Your financial issue?" I was like, I'm driving around in a fucking bashed in like fucking 02 Nissan Almera. You know, the thing, the fucking gearbox is gone. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not rich Uncle Pennybags.
Yeah.
And there's no point in having like a facade of looking like, I've got to just fake it till I make it, and just, you know, get in debt and buy myself a Rolex watch and be just like, look at this Rolex, man. Yeah. You know, it is what it is.
I never get the whole privacy element about money. Like when people, if you say, "Oh, how much you earning?" and they're like, "Oh, no, I couldn't tell you that," as if it's like, if you tell them they're gonna be in your bank account the next day or something. I don't know.
Well, you know what I think it boils down to? I think it boils down to let's say the business elements of negotiation. So if you're too honest, people are like, should I can get this lad for fucking 300 quid? That saved me 100%. You know, like, hey, will you do it for 3 pints? Fuck, 3 pints, man. Yeah,
Did
We have that a
everybody
lot, man.
did everybody make the same amount in the movie, or was different actors like on different things? Like, would Salmon have made the same amount of as you made, or
But
what way did
not
that
really,
work?
because there was different degrees of different degrees of responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
and also, some guys were only doing a couple of days compared to others. So it was basically same. Basically, third day's work, third day's pay. You know what I mean? It was very
Yeah,
fairly distributed. So I mean, the plan was to do this film on a micro budget, which we did, to prove it could be a number one, which it was. And the idea was to go in and do it a very low budget, a micro budget. Like, we had no wardrobe, we had no makeup. So, like, and I'm amazed. Like, there's one scene you
oh
can see
really?
where,
Did you not? Fucking hell.
and imagine this: you're living in a, like, when I remember, like, the week after we came back from being on the road.
So did you just have to provide all your own clothes for every scene?
Yeah. Like, that the Ireland top is an Ireland top I bought when I was 13. And if you listen to
Fucking
the latest
hell.
Hardy Books podcast, I talk about that in depth
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Eugene Greeny, who plays Terry Durkan, because his dad was bringing him these like Umbro seconds that had like a little slip or a little cut on the label to say this is a second. It had like a thread missed or something. They were like fucking XXL. Yeah, so like, before, like, I'll go into what happened, but when we came back from the trip, myself and Tanya went off with another couple from Sweden, some friends of ours, and they just made it. It was like a B&B on wheels. I was just like, wow, this is how you're supposed to do it. But literally, as soon as we got into the back of that, there was just sleeping bags, lads sleeping in the bed with their fucking shoes on. Salmon's feet were in my face. And like, he still had the jeans on, like the bootcut jeans. They're all sullied from like walking around in the damp.
Oh, I'd say that was some experience.
Yeah, and I was just like, and we all managed, like, there was backpacks, there was just no fucking order. And I was like, lads, should we try and make it a bit cozier? And they're like, no. I was like, fair enough. And, and in all of that, everybody managed to keep the continuity going. Like, if I'd lost the Ireland jersey, we were fucked. If we'd lost, there was a funny story about when stateside. There was a scene, that purple dildo scene where they're hitchhiking.
The infamous purple dildo.
The infamous purple dildo, yeah. Like, stateside is there, and he's like, we were talking, and we were in the back of the motorhome one day in between takes, and he's like, what's this, Martin? Like, what? Dildo, innit, man? He's like, oh, sick shit, man. Evil, fucking perverted, demonic shit, man. You know what I mean? Evil, sick pervs, man. It's like, Tom, it's just a prop, man. It's a, don't get too hung up over it. A couple of days later, Mike, my brother-in-law, who was directing, was like, oh, have you seen that purple dildo, mate? I'm like, purple dildo? No, man. But actually, come to think of it, the last time I seen it, Tom Miller had taken a very large disdain towards it. Like, and he's like, right. So Mike just rings up, and it wasn't like he was gonna go like this, like, Tom, did you see that purple dildo tour? It was like, Tom, that fucking purple dildo, I want it back now. And he's like, oh,
what was he doing with it?
You do the math.
What did he say in response to?
Oh, sorry, Mike. It must have fucking fallen into my pocket and in the car. Somehow landed up my arse. So the boo Tommy plays the boo had to go and collect it. He goes, I had to use my sleeve and baby wipes and shit.
Oh, brilliant! I asked Owen Colgan a couple of years ago. It's a lot. It's probably about 5 years ago. I interviewed him about the movie. I think it was around the time the movie was coming out. And I asked him, and I can't remember what he said, but I remember it was very funny. Is there any like stories? And I know you've just told one there, but if you have any more of the making of the film that obviously was not recorded, that just happened amongst you, that maybe couldn't have even been in the film if it was recorded. Is there any one moment in particular that sticks out?
There's loads, man. I mean, like, because it was the nature of it being a micro budget film, there was so many elements to it that were basically right. In fairness to Mike, I don't know if you've ever seen Into the Heart of Darkness. It's basically Apocalypse Now was based on Joseph Conrad's Into the Heart of Darkness, but there was a documentary that Francis Ford Coppola's wife did about the making of Apocalypse Now, and that in itself is nearly as epic as the film itself.
If only he's had it done that for the movie, that would have been fucking amazing.
Yeah, but we brought these two stoner dudes with us, Owen and Colin, and they were supposed to be doing that, and we seen very little footage. We were just like, "Where's the footage, lads?" And they were like, "Obviously we're in Amsterdam." Like, I remember one day they were like, "Oh, that is dank, man. That is very dank stuff." Yeah, I'm sure there's footage of some of the crazy shit. I mean, I was burning the candle at both ends, man. You're out in the Euros, and you're meeting people from home, and you're also like one of the biggest comedy shows out of Ireland. And it was just, the crack was unreal. And when it comes to having the crack, my threshold of willpower is very low in such situations. And yeah, I mean, I'd be out all night, man. I'd have like 3 hours sleep and then do like 12 hours of filming and out again. And I got to the stage where I was just so run down. I got this massive spot on my neck, and I was like, "Mike, you can't put that in." Like, yeah, I mean, I know I can't fucking put it in, mate, because not only is it embarrassing for you, it's also a complete piss take when it comes to continuity, because it's like one day, no spot. So you have to pay like $2,000 to get that frame by frame doctored out of the film. And there was loads of stuff. Like, I mean, there was some tragic elements. Like, without going into too much detail, one of the lads' mum died during the middle of it, and he had to leave. And and my dog on my sister's wedding day. I was really looking forward to coming back to my sister's wedding day, and my dog ends up getting ran over like an hour beforehand and dying.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of kind of.
And what was one of the funniest moments though that happened, that obviously wasn't on the film, that kind of happened amongst you yourselves? Was there has to be one moment where you're just like, holy shit, what is happening here?
Well, I suppose that if I was to talk to you, the lads, they'd probably remember. You know, you'd kind of like, "Oh, I remember that time." Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just, there was a nice buzz, man. We were like two caravans, and I brought the high ace van. We left that in Amsterdam, and it was like, we should have just taken it to Poznan. Like, the thing is, it's a Toyota, man. It's a beast. It would have just kept going. Mm-hmm. But it was when we finished it, we came back to Ireland. It kind of felt like, I remember being the last night we were on the road together, and we all had this kind of sense like this is the end of a great and epic trip. I just remember, like, we went for a couple of pints in Holyhead in this pub, and I was like, God, this is so, like, it felt like, you know, at the end of Lord of the Rings, when they're like, they just go back to the Shire, and they're like, that old lad's just sweeping up and it felt like that, man. There's just a load of fucking old fucking schlobs in Holyhead in the pub. And I was like, this is so depressing. We went and got some late night McDonald's, and I remember like sleeping in the caravan for the last night. You could hear the sound of the rain on the roof. I was like, this is lovely. I remember
poetic.
Poetic. No, it was just really nice, and everyone had kind of, there was a kind of a melancholic sense that. And then when we got into Dublin, it's weird because when you embark on an epic journey like that, and you go back to where you started, you remember the beginning of the journey and how it felt to anticipate what you were going to go through, and then you come back through the same place with all those memories flooding back. And yeah, I mean, there's fucking loads of funny shit that happened. I just can't really think of it at the moment. But we went to I'll tell you a funny story, man. There was this class water park in Poznan, and this thing was unreal. It's huge, like water slides galore, proper wave pool, saunas, outdoor pool, and the whole thing was geothermically heated. It was amazing. And there was one water slide that was intense, and you come out the bottom and it feels like you're being born again. And then we all went down the slide. We're waiting for salmon to come out of the slide. It looked like a wombat being born. Do you know what I mean? It's just like this. Mind blown.
I'd pay serious money to see footage of that.
Oh, mate, I wish we'd recorded it. Like the Polish lifeguard who was he just went, "Kurwa, look at his face." Poznan was unreal, man. It was just non-stop crack, and it's cheap. Like you just you go for a bite to eat. It's like £5, and you're eating like top restaurants.
Like a king.
Poland's
like a king.
unreal, man. Like, because our expectations of Poland, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, we were in. When you go through France and then Holland and Amsterdam, I was like, how are you going to be able to beat Amsterdam? We were staying in this like Zuiderzee campsite, and that was brilliant crack. I was like, nah, there's no way we're going to be able to top. We met Ian Brown in this weed cafe called the Grey Area or the Grey Zone or something. And I was like, it was a day off on a Sunday. We were just having a couple of bifters, James. You know what I mean? Just like, no villainy, mate. You know what I mean? Just a couple of bifters, having a sit off. And I'm like, I rub my eyes. I'm like, is that Ian Brown? And he walks in, he's like, oh, that's how you doing? I was like, Ian, man, how's it going? He's like, oh, mate, I go, you're playing tonight in, aren't you? Like, Stone Roses. He was like, sure, mate, yeah. I was like, do you want to be in our film? Nah, not today, mate. I want to be in it any day. And he had this massive dude, man, this minder. Like, he would comfortably fit into, like, the entire door frame of a 2-meter door. Do you know what I mean? It was just looking at this dude in awe, going, wow, someone gave birth to that man.
So... Do you ever feel like you've been typecast as the character Eddie Durkan in Ireland now?
Oh, absolutely.
From the success of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's definitely favoritism, nepotism, and snobbery in the Irish. Because for me, I always had like bigger aspirations to go on to like doing serious dramas and features and that kind of thing. And that was very frustrating for years. Was the fact that, you know, you go for auditions and you wouldn't be taken seriously, but at the same time, you were very well known. And I think, you know, it's like, I'm sure Pat Short probably had a bit of that as well. And now Pat Short is like the go-to guy for fucking buffoons and autistic lads in like Lenny Abrams movies. But no, in fairness to Pat Short, like I'd say it took him a while to kind of get out of that. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I was in Vikings. I don't know if you've seen the series 5, the very last scene of series 5, and then the first episode of series 6, like my character gets torn apart between like a sapling and a tree stump, and it was like, oh, imagine if all these lads now from the team going, oh! You know, there was no. I just had to do it, man. You know what I mean? There's like maybe like 300 people. There's lads dressed up as fucking roof soldiers on horseback. They made the place. Like dusted it with this like very fine paper that looks like snow. I mean, I was just like, you got a job to do, you got to do it well.
What was it like being in Vikings after Hardy books? Like complete Vikings, contrasts.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it's just a lovely bunch of people. Like it was an absolute pleasure working with them, and yeah, I felt like the funny thing is, me when I'm filming something, I'm like, oh god, I can't wait till this is fucking over. All this getting up early in the morning shit, and then having to be somewhere.
4 a.m. jobs.
But then, yeah. But at the end, and that's how it was. Like for me, I had to do like a lot of prosthetic makeup. So sometimes like they pick me up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be there, you know, having breakfast at like 5, driving from town to Roundwood in Wicklow. But like. Again, when it was coming towards the end of it, I got to know everyone, and you know, you're walking around like this is one of the biggest TV shows in the world.
In the world, yeah.
And I'm part of while I'm here, I'm part of the cast. And
how long were you doing that for? Vikings. I haven't watched it yet, so I haven't.
That was probably from about early September till Christmas.
Wow, so like, it wasn't just a little cameo. You were properly deadly. So I need to put that on the show reel. Haven't got around to that yet.
Just, you know, like lately, Jay, it's just I've got a bit fucking not lazy, but you know, like I suppose, like to be frank, like I'm going through a divorce. I mean, I'm divorced now, so I mean, you know, that's kind of taken its toll. It's an amicable separation, but you know, we were together for years, and we just kind of, you know, still love each other.
Well, but like, no matter how much it's an amicable thing, it's always going to fucking hurt. You know, we're all human, and it takes us time to get through these things.
Yeah, and also like I have the kids like a lot more, you know. So like I'm trying to do the podcast, trying to, you know, get on YouTube and you know, do a bit of streaming or whatever. But it's like I'm gonna get into it. Like it's just things have been kind of a little bit up in the air lately, you know. But and then when things were just picking up, the world goes into lockdown. I was like, because I've been playing music as well, like live music, and doing like I really was getting into that, and like getting the foot in the door here in Sweden. I was like, finally, people take me seriously as a musician now as well. And
Nice,
next thing was like just all the gigs cancelled. I think I had like maybe like 10 gigs in March and April just cancelled. So that was a bit of a sickener, but I was really enjoying like doing live gigs, because it's kind of like a mix of it's pure entertainment, man. It's like I'm doing a bit of comedy and then doing like songs as well, doing some of my own songs and like doing cover songs and brilliant crack, and then like getting lads out with the crowd and like harmonizing with them and playing some like playing really like left field tunes, like Queens of Stone Age and Alice in Chains, so but lot of Oasis, that kind of stuff. But I just playing rock and roll stuff, man. It's great crack.
Is music your real passion? Because
that was always what I wanted to get into. Yeah, that was like I was always music first, and I guess I was I was always like a messer. I had Hodge McNamee from Ham Sandwich on the podcast, and he was like, "Oh, I wanted to get into comedy," and he's a very funny dude. But then he got into music, and whereas like for me it came up. I mean, at the time, it was like, do you want to make a TV show? And it's like, this shit's picking up, and we're like, grand, we'll do this. But as I said, it went on for like a good decade of not doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of sketches on Republic of Telly, but I thought it was going to be. I just thought it was going to be a couple of sketches and it'd be a bit of a laugh at it. I certainly didn't think we'd be like, an institution. But I do remember me and Pete Cassidy were outside the hospital in Castlebar once. We were visiting someone, and we met these two girls, and like, what do you lads do? And like, well, we did a little episode of a comedy show that it's very funny. I think it could be like the next Father Ted. And we're like, yeah, right. What do you think now, girls?
So do you still hang out with the cast of Hardy Books? Are you still friends with some of them, or what's the dynamic dynamic there? Because as an impartial person who kind of watches each and every one of these on social media, you don't really it seems like he's kind of just different avenues. Like you have Alan Colgan out there doing his thing, then you have the Three Books, and you have Chris doing his own thing. What way does that work? Is there a dynamic, or is it these all just meet up the odd time, or do you not talk at all? I'm sure I'm not the only one who's curious about that, because watching it, we've seen you all as this big family, and it's kind of interesting to see the roads that you are all kind of going down now separately. Or what way is that working?
Well, usually, I mean, like it's kind of mad, because like I moved over here 6 years ago, and sometimes it's kind of like you're out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And like I'm just looking, like I was like, had I stayed in Ireland, I'd probably be in the same position as Chris or Owen. But I prefer working with others. I like the idea of bouncing off other people, and it's also if you're all agree to be at a place together, you're going to turn up and you're going to do what you're there to do. But when you're cracking the whip on yourself, it's like, sure, I'll do it next weekend.
Yeah, I'm the exact same.
And consistency is like, I mean, sure, like I get bored of something. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get into making videos, and then like, I'll get back into the music. I might start painting. I might do a bit of fucking woodwork. Just like just to mix it up, Jim. You know what I mean?
Bit of woodwork.
Like it's like going on to fucking YouPorn and like
so
put some BBWs on it.
Do you still talk to the lads, or what way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, like I don't really hear much from Chris anymore. But he seems to be very busy doing his own thing, and I think I've only spoken to him like once or twice in the last 2 years. Wow. And same with the other guys. I don't think they've seen much of him either. And the other lads are always like, but he was your friend. You knew him better. I'm like, you worked with a dude for over a decade, man.
Oh, God, yeah.
But yeah, like I do miss the guy, man, because he's good crack. We knew each other since school. Since the other lads were obviously all in the same school together. But it was only after school I got to, like, me and Pete and Chris would have been like in the same clique from about, say, 2000, 2001. And then it wasn't until about 2003 I met through, like, because Pete Cass plays French Toast. He's one of these lads. He's just operating with different, like, gangs of lads, let's go and see fucking Jeffy. Let's go and see.
Yeah.
So when I came back from like an epic adventure. I was living in Greece for about 5 months, and I went to Sweden. And I remember, like, after back in, I think it was 2014, 2013, looking back 10 years previously when I first went to Sweden, and I was like living in Mayo in like my grandmother's cottage, which I thought was fucking class, man. It was just like, but again, it could be quite isolated at times. I was like, fuck, I haven't seen anyone for like 4 days. But I quite liked it. But like when you're living in like an old stone cottage, and it's like it pretty much is the same as it was years ago, except there's the internet now. And I'd be like thinking, wow, my memories of the past are like visions of the future. It's like Stockholm is it's like the Tokyo of Europe.
Do you think you'll ever come back to Ireland full time, or do you think with the kids and stuff, what way was that?
Yeah, I don't know, mate, because like before Christmas I was like I was contemplating on moving back to Ireland, but I'd miss the kids. It's like I'm in terms of being a dad, I'm very much a hands-on dad. Like I live for my kids, man. And I think the older you get, you realise that time spent away from your kids, you're not going to get that back. And as you know yourself, being a parent, and it's important to always be there. But like,
it's a hard balance, isn't it? Because it's like you want to have your career and be as successful as you can for them, but you also want to spend as much time with them as possible. Like I've had arguments with the mother of my kids over this, because I'm like, you just don't see what I see. I'm trying to do something here. I'm not trying to go out and fucking just party my life away or anything. I'm trying to build something so the kids can have a better future. But then at the same time, you need to spend time with your kids. So it's a difficult position for anybody.
Yeah, it is. It's like I just always have this like naive like thought when I was younger, like as soon as you make it, that's it. You're set. You're done. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like you're evaporated from like normal life into this cloud of like, hey, you're invited to this award ceremony, have this free promotion. Wow, this is fucking sweet, man. Here's some 5-star meal. And then you just kind of like the next thing comes and you're just like pissed out of the cloud. But for me, I'm not into like I'm all about like integrity. I don't really like doing publicity stunts or like I kind of accept it. It's like, yeah, you've got ups and downs, man, and that's part of the game. But like I find it when you get people who they'll do anything to be in the spotlight. I'm not into that. I accept that there are ups and downs, and especially in industry like the entertainment business. Like they don't call the entertainment show business for nothing. It is business, and you're basically it's very similar to being it's like being a stock in the stock market. It's like, what are you like? The more popular you are is basically they're your stocks, mm-hmm. And there's so much like you're basically managing your brand.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the Kevin Hart documentary where he's like,
no, I must watch that actually.
Yeah, he touches into that, and he has like a whole team around him, and who tell him what to say and what he shouldn't be tweeting, and he's constantly in conflict saying, I want to do this, and they're saying, but you have to realize you're a brand. Do you know, this kind of way? So
and it wrecks your head, man, because you don't like. I kind of feel like I'm at the stage where I'm very much like a lot of that when you're in the middle of all that, you're like, what can I say? What can I say? What and then I'm at the stage now where I kind of feel like I've found who I was before, but with the added wisdom of everything I've been through. I think it's very important to always remain grounded. And I mean, I know that sounds very cliche to say, but if you've got people blowing smoke up your ass the whole time, people can tend to believe their own hype.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that there's nothing like a good bit of adversity now and again, just to kind of, you can look at fucking, for example, it can be taken away overnight. Look at Harvey Weinstein. I mean, that dude was, he ran Hollywood with an iron fist, got away with fucking heinous shit. Everyone turned the other way. And next thing, when it goes public, it's boom. Like, dude's walking around with a fucking Zimmer frame now. And he looks like some lad you'd see in a bookie shop on like a Monday morning. You know what I mean? Going for pints next door just to take the edge off life.
Oh. So what's your
So
plans? What's your plans for the future now? What is, as this is going to be captioned, life after Hardy Books? What is life after Hardy Books now for you? After the whole thing exploded, went up. I know it has a resurgence now at the minute because it's on Netflix. So you're probably getting a bit of that back. But what is life after Hardy Books now for you?
well, I had a couple of projects lined up. Me and my brother-in-law, Mike, and we've been working on a film. We were going to do like a feature film of Danny Lynch, that Republic of Telly sketch. But I don't know. We need to go back to that because the script is nearly done. It's just, to be honest with you, mate, it's just about finding time, and it's like I just don't really have like time and energy of like they're kind of finite resources, and it's just to be able to once. I think I maintain the belief that you might not think you're doing anything for a long period of time, and it might feel like, you know, you're not doing a lot, and then you get this like eureka bolt where all of your subconscious has been. I remember watching Graham Linehan on Charlie Brooker once talking about you cannot force something. It's like having a shit, man. You know what I mean? It comes when it's ready, and your subconscious builds up. And I do think that I feel something is you know, I feel like something is gonna come out of all this kind of like this whole situation. But the whole world of media is closed down, man. You know, it's like all of the projects that we have on the go have basically been put on hold till next year. But I always for me, it's like I'm always a kind of cross that bridge when you come to it, and I think life always throws up default opportunities and things that you don't expect, and you've just got to be in the position to capitalize on those opportunities when they come up. And I think at the moment I'm just happy to. I think I just needed a bit of time off just to chill, man. I was doing a lot there before Christmas, and I kind of felt like, you know, I felt like I just needed to take the foot off the gas a bit, just because it was a bit like, and that's the other thing. Like when we talk about branding, it's like you've got, you know, Instagram, and when I go back to Ireland, I was like, how many followers you got? If you posted like 12 o'clock on a Tuesday, you're gonna get 7% more likes, and then you're like, well, what are you doing, man? You're just living life to chase.
It's
like
kind of like you're
digital appraisal.
You're making content for it rather than for yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
In a lot of ways. And I'm definitely guilty of it. And I'm aware of that. But sometimes I do question myself, and I'm like, why am I doing this? I kind of reevaluate. I'm like, do I want to be, I don't want to be this. When I started off, I wanted to be in radio. Then I wanted to make, you know, films and comedy sketches. And now I'm like, why am I making 60-second videos of me for fucking TikTok or Instagram? Like, this isn't why I started. But I think it's so easy now with social media to be sucked into that, like, and then you kind of forget what you're in it for, or your the artistic reason why you're in it, or you wanted to create something that's special and that is unique, you know, and original to you. I think that can be
that's the touchstone there, Jamie. It's basically what do you want? What do you think is funny? What would you like to see?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's like, it's like, as creatives, we have this like knee-jerk reaction. You see someone else is just like, it's weird because you'll see people who are like behind you. Next thing they fucking shoot off their head, like, it's like, it's like the thing you got to realize about being in the public eye as like a creator of comedy or film or music is that you're basically, it's like being on a motorway. Cars are going to pass you out. You come to a roundabout, and you're like, there's the car that passed me out 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Just, I think, because I spent loads of time going, maybe I should be doing this, maybe I should. I think just focus on our own stuff, you know, and if and you know, just if you know, sometimes it's all about starting again and starting up something fresh and reinventing yourself. And it's like these things take time and take patience, but I think you just got to stick with a vision. And
I think it's as well, like, I think now I have never reached the level of success you have, and I hope I will one day, and I'm pretty sure I will if I keep grinding as hard as I am at the minute. But even for like little
You on Grindr, eh?
Even for little like YouTube sketches that I've made, I made one last year, and I put a lot of work into it. You know, I wrote it, I storyboarded it out, I got a camera person to do it, and I edited it myself. And afterwards, I put it online, and I'm like expecting this, you know, 10,000 fucking likes and 100,000 views straight away on YouTube, and that wasn't the case. And for a few days after it,
it's like me when I made my EP. I was like, oh, people are gonna shit in bed when they hear this.
A few days after it, though, after I put it up, you know, it didn't really do great online, but I was feeling down about it. I genuinely was. I was like, oh my god, am I putting so much time and effort into this? And I can remember my girlfriend saying to me, she was like, do you like it? And I was like, yeah, I like it. And she's like, did it turn out the way you visioned it in your head? And I'm like, yeah, it did, yeah. And she's like, well, then just enjoy the fact that you were able to create that little piece of art. I know it's in the video format, and it always sounds arsey saying art, but it is art.
But if you labor over something.
And then someone said to me a couple of weeks later then, and it was just one person, they were like, I know I've had a few viral videos online that went great, and you know, you get lots of attention in the comments. And
that one you did in the pub, that's it's all over WhatsApp. It's seen it on WhatsApp. I got it downloaded to my hard drive from about 9 times. I'm like, I never see him. Like, I know that lad.
Yeah. Well, someone said to me then a few weeks later, and it was just one person, and they were like, that one you did, that video it was called The Man Addicted to GIFs. So it was about a person who just, know the way people just reply GIFs all the time now.
Fuck yeah, I can't stand it, man.
We kind of did a sketch about like if people were actually just addicted to GIFs and they only used GIFs to communicate. So he walks into the chipper with a fish and chip GIF and stuff like that. But it was just one person said to me, I think I was waiting on a bus or something. He's like, oh, I love your videos, Jamie. I'm subscribed to you on YouTube and stuff. And he's like, I have to say though, my favorite one is that GIF one. And just that little comment though, it was like, shit, yeah, I don't need to it doesn't need to go viral in order to be good, you know.
That
one person watched it and enjoyed it, and it was his favorite one out of that maybe did go viral or do better online. But I think that's where a lot of creators that I see and friends of mine, and including myself, get sucked into chasing the fucking likes rather than creating the comedy that you want to create, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's the important takeaway from this. It's basically like I'd have lads come up to me saying, oh, I love the podcast. I'm like, oh, thanks very much. Appreciate that. I know, it's great. I listen to it at work, man. I had one lad come up to me in Swinford in the pub. He's like, oh, hey, Maloney, that'll be away a pint. I was like, oh, thanks very much. And he goes, man, your podcast, like, it got me out of some fucking depressing times. And I was like, you know, I'm glad to know that I managed to bring a bit of cheer. And, you know, it's kind of like, I'm the kind of guy in real life that if someone comes to me with a problem, I'll do my best to sort them out or give them a bit of advice. And I found myself like in situations where I was like, people come to me, they're like, oh, what I do, I'm going through this. I'm like, I give them advice, and then I found like, I went through a hard time where people who I'd given advice to had, you know, come back and return the support, you know, and. Even when I went to that court case, that was very mentally taxing, because you're running these, like, you know, you think it's going to be like Perry Mason, like order, and it's not, you know, and it's like, but you're in your mind like, oh, and if they ask me this question, what I say? There was none of that, man, you know. And as Mark Twain would say, he's known many worries in his life, and 70% of it never come true. So paraphrasing there, like, but I don't know, but yeah, basically that, going back to the fact that 1 or 2 people, if they come up to you and they really enjoy it, then you know that they've enjoyed it, and it's like, well, grand. I mean, because you know, we're living in a world where content is so fucking disposable now.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's like people are just like, it's on Instagram. It's like, and apparently you have, and like a Zuckerberg insider information was like, basically, if you have a video, you have to engage. Your time of engagement is about the length of a thumb. That's how fucking people's attention span, that's how bad it's gone now, that it's like, oh, you're gone, all right, well, I'll stick with you. And it kind of peaks at about 30 seconds. Like,
I'm gone. I'll swipe to the next video.
Well, I think there's definitely a resurgence in the consumption of long form entertainment. Again, you know, I think everything kind of has its time, and I think people are It's like, yeah, you can get stuck in an Instagram hole or you know, YouTube. Like I spent, the problem is with me, I spend too much time on YouTube watching other people's stuff.
So do I. I think everybody does that, yeah. If you were able to just knock it off and just focus on your own shit, like, you know.
The internet is actually my biggest distraction. Like, I remember when we first moved in here and like there's no internet out there for like a week or two, and I was drawing, I was being really creative, and the next thing the internet came out, I was like this. And it never stopped.
We'll finish up now because I think we're going over an hour now, so I don't want it to be too long, the final podcast that we're going to put up. So you've been playing a bit of PlayStation and live streaming. Do you enjoy that?
I have, Jamie. I have. What was the name of the channel again?
Your channel?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, it's in the back of my head. Why did you have to do this to me? What is the name?
I'm glad you asked. It's Maloney's Digest. And
Maloney's Digest.
Maloney's Digest.
Maloney's Digest. Yeah, so if you want to have a chat with Martin yourself, if you're watching this video and you're like, this chap's a cool guy, maybe you've never seen Hardy Books, maybe you have, maybe you've seen some of the sketches he's done, maybe you've seen Vikings, and if you want to go check him out, you can literally have a fucking chat with him. How great is that? Yeah. Go do it on PlayStation by searching his Maloney's Digest on YouTube. Please do, if you're a fan of mine or a subscriber to me, please do go over and give him a subscribe, because he well and truly deserves it. The man is an absolute legend.
Thanks for the touch there, Jim.
And a funny bloke. So I'll leave a link in the description of this video, and I'm sure a few people will go over, and I will appreciate if you can do that.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. It's basically a compilation of whatever the fuck manages to fall out of my, as I say in the blurb underneath, whatever manages to successfully come out of my head and make it on here. You know, it's like. But yeah, I quite like the YouTube. Like
the live streaming is great crack, though, isn't it? It's just
it's great crack. It's like being in the pub, man. You know?
Yeah,
yeah,
like, it is. It is.
It's like you don't even need to leave the gaff. It's like this is brilliant.
Imagine what the future generations are going to be like. They're just going to lie in bed all day like this. They won't even need to do anything. They just need a headset on.
But I suppose the good thing is that you're meeting people from all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, you're getting to know people, and it's like they say, oh, it's the YouTube community. But then it is once you kind of get into, like, people start kind of, you probably get this as well, where like, because there's so many different platforms. There's Twitter, there's YouTube, there's Discord, Facebook, Instagram. And then you've got people who've got like different names. You're like, I know that guy. You know, he's just it's like, oh, that was me, man. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's fucking sausage sandwich, man. You know what I mean? It's like, you know the way when people are like interviewing other YouTubers, and they call each other by their YouTube handles, like, oh, thanks very much, gas barrel #137219.
Even a friend of mine, I've been calling him by his real name or by his PlayStation name in real life. His PlayStation name is Pepper Me. And I meet him in real life now, and I'm like, Pepper Me, what's the crack? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
and how did you get to know him? Was that in real life, or?
He's just a mate of mine years, and he just plays PlayStation, you know, and sticks the mic on. So yeah, he actually got me into PlayStation. He's a big gamer, and he was like, oh, come on, if you're fucking stressed out or you're bored, jump on and take the kills.
Are you playing much Modern Warfare?
I've been playing Modern Warfare as I played with you, but I'm shy at it. I'm like, I'm good
my
at
thumbs
like,
aren't quick enough. Like my
same.
Yeah.
My reaction, my brain isn't. I see the person, I see him like this about to shoot me, and I send a message to my fingers to shoot him, and there's a delay of like 3 seconds, so I die.
There's a lag.
Yeah. It's not the internet connection, it's just the connection from my brain to my hands. But I was playing the PlayStation with my nephew Bob, who is fucking, I think he's just gone 11 or only 11. And man, he's fucking boss at Call of Duty. Like, boom, 60 kills. I'm like, what the fuck? What's wrong with me? I'm a grown, I'm nearly 30 years of age, and I can't get more kills than my 11-year-old nephew on a fucking game.
That's the thing, my mate Jono, his sons, like, they're like, same age, like, not even. And they're just like, they were playing Fortnite, and it's like,
fucking,
I was like, how do you put the roof
twin towers in 1-2 seconds like that?
Yeah, Fortnite is the biggest. It's one of the biggest, like, decompartmentalizing of your brain. It's like you're building towers and shooting at the same time. It's like architecture and a shooting range.
Some amount of money they've made on that. I think I've spent about €500 alone on one of my kids on that game just to buy the skins. And what can I say? Like, back in my day, we were collecting fucking Simpsons pogs and, you know,
pogs,
Pokemon cards, and I'd be begging my parents for money for them, and they were probably saying the same thing as I am now, like going, "Oh, that fucking buying stupid cards lumps of cardboard." But it's the same thing. So if I have it, I'll buy the fucking virtual skins for them. It's the same
He
thing.
wants a bum bag, no.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But listen, I could talk to you all night, but I want to end this now. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and chat with me, and hopefully we can.
Mate, it was an absolute pleasure. You're a good old skin, mate. And
where else can people check you out? Have you want anything you want?
Well, there's the Hardy Books podcast. You can check me out on there. I've had a couple of interesting guests on that so far, including like John McAfee, the head who did like the antivirus software, and
Eddie
Bravo.
Really? Fucking hell!
Yeah,
I must check them out myself. Sorry, I haven't. I've missed them.
Hey, if you're doing the dishes, just throw a couple of them on.
I definitely will. Yeah, I can't wait.
24 episodes up there, and Instagram Maloney 101, and I've got like the Eddie Durkan page on Facebook, but I don't really be on that as much now. But I'm on Facebook or Instagram a good bit.
Cool.
On YouTube, I'm Maloney's Digest on YouTube. That's pretty much like.
I'll link them all in the description. So if you managed to watch this till the end, do us a favor, go subscribe to Good L Martin there. And thanks very much for the chat.
Mate,
we covered fucking everything, I think.
We did indeed. And
if people like it and you want to see it again, and you want me to go in and ask some more questions to L Martin, leave a question that I missed in the comment, and maybe we could do a part 2 of this in a couple of months or whatever, and we'll ask the questions that I missed. Thanks very much, man, and I'll catch you on the
thank you.
Station.
No worries, Jamie, man. You're an absolute prince.
Thank you very much. Happy Christmas, right? See you later, man.
Happy Halloween to you.